Hi guys, and welcome back to Canada Top to Bottom and to the next in our series on Provincial Nominee Programs, or PNPs. At the time of recording, early 2022, there have still been no federal skilled worker draws due to the pandemic, well over a year now since the last draw. Yet there have been PNP draws consistently throughout 2021, so a nomination from a province is becoming more and more desirable every day as a way to immigrate to Canada. There has never been a better time to take matters into your own hands and get a nomination from one of Canada's provinces.
Today we're focusing on the tiny province of Nova Scotia on the east coast of Canada. It is Canada's second smallest province in terms of population, with just under 1 million people living there, second only to Prince Edward Island. Yet because it's so small, it's also Canada's second most densely populated province, again after Prince Edward Island.
Nova Scotia is one of Canada's 4 Atlantic provinces, which means it's also involved in the Atlantic Immigration Program, that was previously known as the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, or AIPP. You can find out more about how to immigrate to Canada through the AIPP in our video on the easiest way to move to Canada. The link is above.
The name Nova Scotia originates from Latin meaning New Scotland. So it's not surprising to find that the largest ethnic group in Nova Scotia is Scottish at 28.3%, closely followed by English, Irish and French. Nova Scotia is known for its high tides, its beautiful rugged coastline, which looks a lot like Scotland, the creativity of its people, and for having 4 very distinct seasons.
The capital of Nova Scotia is Halifax, which has the biggest population east of Quebec City. And being based on the water, the province is a wonderful place to escape busy cities and the frantic pace of life. There are beaches, coastal trails and water sports galore in Nova Scotia, so with the rise of remote working and with Nova Scotia being amongst the most affordable places to live in Canada, let's find out how to move there.
There are 9 streams within the Nova Scotia Nominee Program, several of which are quite specialist and require a particular skill or experience, but others which are open for everyone, and even 2 which don't require a job offer.
The streams available are the Nova Scotia Labour Market Priorities Stream, Labour Market Priorities for Physicians, the Physician Stream, Entrepreneur International Graduate, Entrepreneur International Graduates in Demand, Skilled Worker, Occupations in Demand, and Nova Scotia Experience Express Entry. There used to be a popular stream called the Nova Scotia Demand Express Entry stream, which you may have seen featured on other videos, but this stream was terminated in January 2021. We'll talk you through each of the existing programs in turn, what the requirements are, and how to apply. And of course, all the links for the programs we'll be talking about today can be found in the description box below. All the information on each individual stream, including eligibility requirements, step-by-step instructions on how to apply, and the online application forms are at the bottom of each relevant page.
So to begin, for the Nova Scotia Labour Market Priorities Stream, candidates must already have an active Express Entry profile. If you are not yet aware of Express Entry, watch our videos on Express Entry Explained and which Express Entry program to choose, as Express Entry features very highly in the Nova Scotia PNP and indeed in Canada immigration in general. The Labour Market Priorities Stream selects candidates who are already in the federal Express Entry system and who meet provincial labour market needs for Nova Scotia. Successful candidates will receive a letter of interest from the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration inviting them to apply for immigration. There are no specific requirements from Nova Scotia for this stream, simply that candidates must meet the minimum requirements for one of the Express Entry programs, which are Federal Skilled Worker, Federal Skilled Trades, or Canadian Experience class. You don't need a job offer for this stream, but you also cannot apply directly to the stream. Once you have an Express Entry profile and have registered your preference for Nova Scotia in your profile, you then have to wait to be selected by the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration, who will select the candidates whose skills and experience match the labour market shortages in the province.
The Labour Market Priorities for Physicians is similar to the Labour Market Priorities stream in that candidates need to first have an active Express Entry profile. However, rather than being aimed at candidates who will fill labour market needs, This stream is for general practitioners, family physicians, and specialist physicians. Candidates must have an approved job offer from the Nova Scotia Health Authority, and then, as with the Labour Market Priorities stream, they can only apply for immigration once they receive a letter of interest from the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration.
As this stream is linked to the Federal Express Entry stream, you must, of course, meet the minimum requirements for at least one of the Express Entry programs, including meeting the language skills requirement, education and work experience. All the links to the Federal Express Entry programs are in the description box below, so check them out to see if you are eligible for any of these programs. In addition to these requirements, successful candidates in this stream must also sign a document indicating their commitment to live and work in Nova Scotia for a minimum of 2 years.
Next, we have the physician stream, which is similar to the Labour Market Priorities for Physicians stream, as you might have guessed, in that it aims to offer general practitioners, family physicians and specialist physicians the opportunity to work in Nova Scotia. However, the main difference is that it's not linked to the Federal Express Entry system. The physician stream helps the Nova Scotia Health Authority recruit and retain physicians to work in positions that they've been unable to fill with a permanent resident or Canadian citizen. A further significant difference is the processing time, with the physician stream taking approximately 18 to 24 months compared to just 6 months for the Labour Market Priorities for Physicians stream.
To be eligible for this stream, physicians in one of the 3 categories must have received a job offer from either the Nova Scotia Health Authority or the Isaac Walton Killam Health Centre, otherwise known as the IWK. With this, they do not have to wait to receive a letter of interest. They can apply directly to the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration. In addition, they must promise to live and work in Nova Scotia for at least 2 years. They must also prove that they meet all the criteria required to obtain a licence to practice medicine in Nova Scotia, and also prove that they are able to practice medicine in either English or French.
The next category is the entrepreneur stream, which is for experienced business owners or senior business managers who want to live in Nova Scotia. It's important to point out that candidates can only apply to this stream if they are invited by the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration, and they must plan to start a new business or buy an existing business whilst actively participating in the day-to-day management of that business. After operating the business for a year, the entrepreneur may be nominated for permanent resident status.
The minimum criteria for the entrepreneur stream are as follows. Applicants must have at least 600,000 Canadian dollars readily available. They must have a minimum of 3 years of business ownership experience. They must have taken a test to prove that they are level CLB5 in either English or French in all 4 areas of listening, speaking, reading and writing. They must have a minimum of a high school diploma, agree to make a minimum capital investment of 150,000 Canadian dollars to establish a business, and they must also agree to reside in Nova Scotia. Check out our video on language levels for immigration if you're not yet familiar with CLB levels.
The first step in applying for the entrepreneur stream is to indicate your interest by submitting an online expression of interest. This is a points-based application, and the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration will select candidates based on their score on the points grid, with the top scoring candidates being prioritised for selection. The points are awarded based on language level in English or French, previous education, business ownership or management experience, net worth, age, adaptability to living in Nova Scotia, area of the business, and the amount of investment. If selected, you will be given an invitation to apply to submit a full application. Check the link below to see how many points you would receive if you were to apply.
The next category is the International Graduate Entrepreneur Stream. As the name implies, this stream is similar to the previous one in that applicants must want to live permanently in Nova Scotia while owning and actively managing a Nova Scotia business. However, another quite important requirement is that applicants must also be recent graduates of a Nova Scotia university or the Nova Scotia Community College, having completed a degree or diploma after at least 2 academic years of full-time in-person study. In addition, they must have already started or bought a Nova Scotia business and have at least 1 year's continuous experience actively managing and owning this business.
Further criteria for this stream are that you must be at least 21 years old, have a valid post-graduation work permit, and have achieved a score of at least CLB 7 in English or French for all 4 disciplines of speaking, listening, reading and writing. Finally, you must demonstrate an intention to settle in Nova Scotia.
Application to this stream is by invitation only. To apply to the International Graduate Entrepreneur stream, you must first complete an expression of interest online. As with the Entrepreneur stream, this is a points-based application, and the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration will select candidates based on their score on the points grid, with the top scoring candidates being prioritised for selection. The points awarded are based on language level in English or French, your education, work experience, age, adaptability to living in Nova Scotia, and Nova Scotia's current economic priorities. If you're selected, you will be given an invitation to apply to submit a full application. Check out the link below to see how many points you would receive if you were to apply to this stream.
Sticking with graduates, the next category is the International Graduates in Demand stream. This is for recent international graduates whose skills and education match specific job categories, hence the In Demand title. At the moment, the stream is currently open to workers in just 2 job categories. The first is nurse aides, orderlies and patient service associates, and the second is early childhood educators and assistants. These come under the NOT codes 3413 and 4214, and if you're not yet familiar with NOT codes, these are essentially codes which classify all occupations into categories which you can use to make an immigration application. Check the link in the description box to find out how your occupation would be classified.
If you have experience in any of the above categories, the remaining criteria are that you must have a full-time, permanent job offer from a Nova Scotia employer in one of the job categories listed above. You must be aged between 21 and 55, have a minimum education of a high school diploma, have completed a study course of at least 30 weeks in length in the 3 years prior to applying, at least 50% of which was in Nova Scotia, and finally provide proof of your language ability to at least CLB level 5 in English or in French.
To apply, you need to submit an online application explaining in detail why you want to move to Nova Scotia and your personal circumstances, and if successful, you'll be offered a nomination from the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration, which you can then use to apply for permanent residence.
So next up, the skilled worker stream is for foreign workers and recently graduated international students whose skills are in demand in Nova Scotia. The most important thing to know for this category is that it requires a full-time and permanent job offer from a Nova Scotia employer, and an employer can only hire a foreign worker if they can prove that they were unable to find a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen to do the job. This means that getting a job offer in the first place is no easy task.
Further criteria are that you must have at least 1 year of work experience related to the job, be aged between 21 and 55, have at least a high school diploma, and have a language ability in English or French of CLB level 5 if you are a skilled worker, or CLB level 4 for semi-skilled and low-skilled worker. Low-skilled workers must take a test to provide proof of language skills, but for skilled workers, no proof is required if your first language is English or French. And to my knowledge, this is the only immigration route in the whole of Canada that recognises the futility of native speakers taking a test in their mother tongue.
As with the previous stream, to apply you need to submit an online application explaining in detail why you want to move to Nova Scotia, what Nova Scotia can offer you, and if successful, you will be offered a nomination from the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration.
The Occupations in Demand stream, as the name implies, targets specific lower skilled occupations that are in high demand in Nova Scotia. The occupations which are in demand are of course subject to change as the labour market needs also change. At the moment, the in-demand occupations are nurse aides, orderlies and patient service associates, food and beverage servers, food counter attendants and kitchen helpers, light duty cleaners, transport truck drivers, heavy equipment operators and construction trades helpers and labourers. This stream requires a full-time permanent job offer from a Nova Scotia employer in one of the related occupations.
Further requirements are at least 1 year of work experience related to the job, be aged between 21 and 55, have a high school diploma, have the appropriate training or skills for the job, and prove language ability to at least CLB level 4 in English or French, even if one of them is your first language.
As with the previous two streams, to apply, you need to submit an online application explaining in detail why you want to move to Nova Scotia, what Nova Scotia can offer you, and if successful, you will be offered a nomination from the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration, which you can then use to apply for permanent residence. The link to the application guide is, of course, in the description box below.
The final category in the Nova Scotia Nominee Program is the Nova Scotia Experience Express Entry Stream. This is for highly skilled individuals who wish to live in Nova Scotia permanently, and most importantly, as well as already having an express entry profile, you don't need a job offer, but applicants must have at least 1 year of experience working in Nova Scotia in a high-skilled occupation.
As we mentioned earlier, any stream which is linked to the federal express entry system requires candidates to have an active express entry profile, which means meeting the criteria for at least one of the 3 federal programs. Make sure you watch our video on which express entry program to choose, the link is above, if you're not too familiar with the process. This will help you decide if you're eligible for any of the programs.
Once you have an active express entry profile, to be eligible to apply for the Nova Scotia Experience Express Entry Stream, you will also need to have at least 1 year of work experience in Nova Scotia, be aged between 21 and 55, have a Canadian high school credential or the equivalent from another country, and prove your language ability in English or French. For skilled occupations classed as NOC score 0 or A, you need to have a CLB level 7 in your language, and for NOC B positions, you will need a CLB level 5.
Unlike the other express entry linked streams, you do not need to wait to be selected. You apply directly to the Nova Scotia Nominee Program with your express entry profile number and a job seeker validation code. Your application will be evaluated and you may be offered a nomination certificate. Again, as ever, the link to the application guide is in the description box below.
It is important to remember that all the streams within the Nova Scotia Nominee Program are 2-step processes. The first step requires candidates to apply to the Nova Scotia Nominee Program at the provincial level. If they are successful, they will receive a nomination certificate from Nova Scotia, and with this, they can apply to IRCC federal level for a permanent resident visa for Canada.
Okay, as has been the case with all our PNP videos, that is a lot of information, but we hope this has given you some options for the Nova Scotia PNP program and made it a little clearer, and given you some useful information to decide whether this is the province for you. Let us know if you are considering moving to Nova Scotia or if you live there already, and we'll see you next time.